to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Check the Pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by X-Cancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. Hope you're all having a great week. Hakuna Matata, ladies and gentlemen. It means no worries. Real quick, my thoughts on the national championship game tonight between Alabama and Georgia. Georgia has the better overall roster. Alabama has the better quarterback. Georgia has the motivation. Alabama has the better coach, at least to this point in time. I hope they both lose. Now, let's talk a little bit of Nebraska, of football, shall we? I want to talk specifically about the wide receiver room and the potential that exists in that room. Now, to be very, very clear, this is not a fluff piece, not a negative piece. It is facts plus facts equal my opinion. 2 + 2 = 4. Now, that doesn't mean I'm right, but it is what it is. Let's light this candle, shall we? Over the weekend, former 5-star wide receiver Trey Palmer committed to transfer to the University of Nebraska. And at the time he came out of high school, he was the number 2 wide receiver in the country. He played his first 3 seasons with the Tigers there in Baton Rouge. He has 2 years of eligibility left. If he wanted to do so, he's got 3 years with which to play them. I'd be surprised. But just thought I'd give you the full disclosure of information there on Mr. Palmer. He's 6'1", 187 pounds. A season ago, he had 30 catches for 344 yards and 3 touchdowns. As far as the return game, guy's got speed. Okay, he's got return playmaking ability. All right, punt return wise, he had 18 punt returns for 117 yards, average 6.5 yards per return. Kickoff return wise, he returned 7 kickoffs, all right, for a total 142 yards and average 20.82 yards per return. He has also had a punt return he's taken back to the house and a kickoff return he's taken for a touchdown as well throughout his career there at LSU. Now, you may or may not be aware, but Nebraska struggled in the return game a year ago. They totaled 27 total punt return yards last season. They were also amongst the worst in the country when it came to kickoff returns as well. Now I mentioned Palmer's got great speed, elite speed. Okay, he was a multi-time state track champion in high school. He won the 100-meter dash with a time of 10.42 his senior year of high school, and the 200-meter as well with a mark of 21.11. Now, you look at that entire room as a whole. That wide receiver room as a whole. Probably the most talented position group on the entire Nebraska football roster at this point in time. You look at a guy like Omar Manning. His 3rd year in the Nebraska football program. It's time for him to step up. When he joined the Husker program, he was the number 1 JUCO receiver in the entire country. Okay, 6'4", 225 pounds. I've said this before, when I met this guy, he looked like a defensive end, but you watch him run. He runs like a much smaller wide receiver with an obviously much bigger frame. The athleticism, the size, the ability, the speed is there. Xavier Betts is another guy that pops into my head. 6'2", 200 pounds. Now, he was the highest rated recruit from the state of Nebraska in a dozen years when he came out of high school. Okay, he also totaled more than 3,300 receiving yards throughout his prep career, and he set a Class A state record for Nebraska with 46 receiving touchdowns. Other people who will be coming into that wide receiver room this offseason as well as Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, a transfer from New Mexico State, Victor Jones, and a guy whose name is just fun to say, DeColdest Crawford. Individuals who are already in that room. Wyatt Luer, Alante Brown. In case you forgot, he was a 4-star coming out of high school, the number 1 prep player in America as well. Will Nixon, Latrell Neville, a guy who's 6'4", 200 pounds. Okay, had offers from Alabama, Auburn, Florida, LSU, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. Also, Sean Hardy, Camonte Grimes, Oliver Martin, Chancellor Brewington, and Brody Belt. Okay, this is a position group that, in my opinion, has the best potential. They have the potential. Okay, potential is the ability to do great things, but you haven't done it yet. I've said it before, and I guarantee I'll say it again at another point in time on this show. The ability to do great things, but you haven't done it yet. Okay, they have the potential to be one of the best receiving corps in the Big Ten. And if they can get on the same page with Casey Thompson, or whoever our starting quarterback is, potentially in the country, one of the better receiving corps in the country. You look at guys like Palmer, Manning, Betts, all over 6 foot. 2 of the 3 over 200 pounds or more with incredible athleticism and speed. That being said, we don't have a single consistent, proven receiver or pass catcher. Okay, Samori Toure, our best receiver from a year ago, is gone. Austin Allen, who was the Big Ten tight end of the year and set Nebraska receiving records for tight ends, they're both gone. Okay. You look at a guy like Palmer. He had nice numbers at LSU. I don't know that you can really say he lived up to 5-star or number 2 wide receiver in the country type expectations. Now, in all fairness to him, 2019, that LSU offense, one of the greatest of all time. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the like. Outside of that, LSU's not typically known for offense. All right, Ed Orgeron, former D-line coach. In the past, LSU's typically been known more for defense. Okay, and maybe even more for running the ball, okay, than throwing the ball outside of that 2019 season. So I'm hoping, and I know he came here because of Mickey Joseph and his ties to LSU, but I'm hoping this Nebraska staff can get more out of him as a wide receiver because that potential, that ability, that talent is there. Not only with him, but in this entire wide receiving room. Because we don't have a single, consistent, proven wide receiver, okay, at least nobody that you can argue has lived up to the potential that they have, at least not to this point. They've all got more years ahead of them, obviously, so hopefully we can get it out of them. Here's the deal. All right, we have recruited well enough. Frost has made some good moves this offseason, and I, as much as anybody, I enjoy the offseason Kool-Aid. I mean, what's the point of living in the doldrums? Plus, you never know what'll happen. But here's the deal. It all comes down to player development because we have recruited well enough. We have made good offseason moves. At this point, it all comes down to player development because all that matters is results on the field. All right. All right. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. What's your prediction for Alabama and Georgia? What are your thoughts on this wide receiver room? What are your thoughts on some of the other position groups on the team? All right. Let me know some other show topics you want me to talk about here in the future. All right, until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red, and always remember, throw the bug.